What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Robstar Report. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Appreciate everyone being in here. What a time to be a Carolina Panthers fan, because tell you what, there's a lot of great news coming around this team right before this wild card playoff game. You got Cam Newton. Yes, that's official, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the thing. We all knew. They knew exactly who they needed to reach out to. There's been reports all week about Cam Newton and, him coming in and doing the drum. And so now it's official, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you couldn't have anybody else. You need to bring that back in. You need to save face. You know that, especially David Tepper in this organization needed to get back, especially to a guy like Cam Newton. So, again, good news. It's good news. I mean, here's the thing. I knew it was going to happen. There was a lot of rumors, right? But again, the Panthers reached out to Cam and got it all settled up, and now we're going to have Cam Newton literally coming into Bank of America Stadium right before our big wild card playoff matchup. And he is going to be, the reports finally came out that he's going to be banging on that drum to start off the playoff week. That's what we're going to start off with this show. And by the way, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Appreciate everyone coming through. Again, appreciate everyone being here. Shout out to everybody in the chat already. Low Max, Trizzy, Underground West, of course. Joust, what's good, man? This is huge. This is great news for this organization. This is big news for this organization, right? I think especially it's a step in the right direction of getting this guy back in here. And maybe we might see him more. Who knows? That would be cool. But they reached out to Cam Newton about beating the keep pounding drum before the wild card game against the Los Angeles Rams, and he is officially going to be attending. And the last time we saw him on the field was 2021, I think it was. I think it was like 2021. So, and that was the final home game of his career, really. But they needed to bring Cam Newton in to bang this drum, right? They needed him, right? Because if you think about it, right? The last time, chat, we were in the playoffs, it was because of him. Back in what? 2017, which is almost when things started to really kind of take the wrong turn, you know what I mean? So, and we lost in a heartbreaking fashion. And then a few weeks in that 2018 season, Cam gets absolutely torched, and now should be by now an illegal hit from TJ Watt that just obviously messed up that shoulder. I don't think he was ever the same. And neither was our team after that. But again, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, man. At least for now. I mean, we're hosting our first playoff game, and for the first time since we went to the Super Bowl, so that's crazy to think about. So Cam Newton is going to be officially banging that drum. I thought, here's the thing, I ain't gonna lie, chat. Like, even though I had sources tell me that this was really gonna happen, and I'm not gonna tell you my sources. I had sources say that he was already in Charlotte. I'm not going to give you my sources. I just know people. And those sources told me he was there. And then I just had this feeling that it was all BS. You know what I mean? And then it's now coming to fruition. But I just felt it was highly unlikely that he was going to be the one, right? Because the Panthers, the Steph Curry did it at the Super Bowl, right? That one time. So there's been so many guys: Mike Rucker, Corey Seager, Mushi Muhammad, Steve Smith, Luke May, T.J. Olson, Christian Futch, Jonathan Stewart. Right, so many. Right, So again, but this is the biggest game since the Super Bowl, and again, this is so perfectly fitting though, because he would get the fans going in a way like no one else can in the entire world can in Carolina. So this needed to happen, right? I just didn't think it was going to because of the current relationship, right? Because I feel like this organization really doesn't have a good relationship with him. And they brought him back, right? Which I thought they were trying to rekindle or save that relationship to somewhat. And then, there really hasn't been much there. They don't have anything in the stadium of him, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that going around. Um, Cam, we know, has expressed his feelings over how this team has treated him and his final exit. And the team, has responded by saying that, you know, Cam has never officially retired. And that's kind of been the argument, but I don't think Cam's ever going to file paperwork, right? But in the eyes of the NFLPA, he is retired, right? So they view a player as retired if he's been without a contract for 1 year or at least one end. So the last contract, Newton signed, he was a brief return with us back in 2021. So again, I didn't think it was going to happen, but here we are, and it's awesome. And it's awesome. I'm glad that they're doing this, and again, I think this is something I've been waiting for them to do for the longest time, right? Right. I mean, the excuses for this organization never really held water to any reason why they shunned Newton away. Either way, I didn't think it was going to happen. And again, it is, but I just was like, man, I just don't see him showing up. Right. I just felt like it was highly unlikely that this team, um, would do all this, throw signs to really get him to bang the drum. And I just didn't feel like it was remotely guaranteed. And then sources were telling me, and I was just like, I don't know, man. And then it happened. So I was shocked. Lucky Luke CR07 Rams fan here. I'm looking forward for our revenge this Saturday. Y'all already beat us once, but it's hard to beat a team twice. My dad's a Panthers fan. I used to be when I was little. Appreciate you, Lucky Luke, for coming through. Appreciate you. What's up, Clay? Thanks for your always great content. It was definitely targeting for Cam for sure. It's gonna be lit. Absolutely, Trizzy. Keep pounding that like button, please. Appreciate that. Um, it's only right that Cam is back in the bank where he belongs. Absolutely. Ooh, out here. Ooh, out here. It's an honor to hit that keep pounding drum in the bank. Absolutely. Panther 37. What's good? Steve O. Cameron, Jarrell Newton, Queen City about to go nuts. In 2015, the analysts hated us every step. Panther Pickle, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through. Step of the way till we were in the Super Bowl, and then we jumped on the bandwagon. We lost. So I don't want their support. I don't want their love. I don't want their voter confidence. All I want is their hate, and I want it all day, all night. Panther Pickle is not running for no smoke, and I love it. Sup, Clay? What's up, Miss Drizzy? Think we put the pressure on them on X. They had no choice but to reach out. Absolutely. Could be, Ms. Douglas. Maybe Panther Nation push that envelope. You know what I mean? I'm shocked that they're going to do this too, considering the circumstances. Hopefully the water's under the bridge. Hopefully so. Hopefully this can be something that can get Cam. I would love to see Cam more involved or come back or something. I don't know. I'd love to see if maybe they could work something out. TJ's the biggest Panthers hater. Oh, TJ he's not the biggest Panthers hater. He's not. he's not the biggest Panthers haters compared to how much he hates them Falcons. I can tell you that. He respects them, but he hates them. Like, he has a strong hate. He doesn't hate the Panthers. Also, Tillis, what the fuck? I wouldn't read too much in that Brant Tillis thing. I really wouldn't, chat. Do y'all? I mean, we could talk about it if you want to. It's monumental when Adam Schefter posts about his return. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's monumental. We can talk about the Brant Tillis thing. I don't think anything's going to happen, but that's just me. I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think anything's going to happen. You know what I mean? Or the bold guy who still said Bryce was so small. All right, which ball guy? Because there's multiple ball guys. I hear Bowles is coming. Bowles is coming where? Because I've heard Bowles is staying. I hear Bowles is coming back. Sorry. Yes, he is coming back. Yes, he is. So, all right, chat. Let's get into this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think that this type of game is where, this is a game I think the Rams hate. Now, I think here's the thing. I think Carolina actually has a shot to shock the world against the Rams. I'm just being completely honest with you. I do. I think they have a chance to shock the world against the Rams. And we're going to go over a couple of these images, but of course, I want to bring this one up as always for fun. But we haven't hosted a playoff game in a decade. So I want you to really think about that for a second. And on Saturday, Bank of America Stadium finally gets January football again as the Carolina Panthers welcome the LA Rams for a wild card matchup. On paper looks wildly unfair. Like, you could say that, right? Us being the NFC South champs, the Rams are the conference 5th seed, and yet almost nobody outside of Carolina really believes this thing will be competitive. Obviously, you could tell that by the profile or the thumbnail of this live stream, as you can see. But I mean, everybody's picking us to lose this game. Everybody's picking us, right? And that's understandable, man. Like, I mean, the Rams are rolling in with the league's #1 offense. You got an MVP caliber quarterback, an elite skill position talent in Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. You could even say Kyra Williams, right? I wouldn't say maybe he's an elite, but he's a top 20 running back. You got a top 10 defense, and they're one of the most popular Super Bowl picks despite them traveling all the way here. And even after they lost in Charlotte once already this season, they're still double-digit favorites. And here's the thing. We didn't beat the Rams by accident the first time. Y'all got to remember, J.C. Horn wasn't playing. Christian Roseboom wasn't playing. I think we were still missing some other guys as well. Tre'von Moehrig was under suspension. And the same pressure points still exist. Like, the blueprint already exists out there. It's still going to work. It can still work. Right? I do think that it can still work. All right. But here's the thing for Carolina and what we have to do. It does start with the ground game. Like, I'm going to show you a quick image here. The Panthers or Rams. This was back in November 30th. Game took just 163 minutes. So it was 2 hours, 43 minutes. The quickest game with at least 55 points scored over the last decade, which is kind of crazy to think about. But back on November 30th, we didn't just win because everything went perfectly. We won because they played the game they needed to play, and it started on the ground. Like, again, Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, again, they haven't. The thing that I'm having trouble with right now with this offense is Not as much as Bryce Young. I get the inconsistencies throughout the year, but Bryce was the problem against Tampa Bay. The one pick is not going to did not ruin that whole game. All right. But Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard have been the run game's just been non-existent. Right. And so if you go back and watch the Rams game, I got the stats in front of me. They combined for 141 rushing yards on 35 carries. Controlling the tempo. They kept the Rams honest in that game, in my opinion. So that commitment again is going to matter. It forces the Rams out of pure pass rush mode and open space for Bryce Young to work effectively. And again, Bryce Young didn't light up the stat sheet. He didn't, but he didn't need to when he played the Rams. He did throw for over 200 yards. He also had 3 touchdowns on only 20 attempts because he was able to go out there and play freely a little bit more. He was able to go out there and pick his spots, right? He didn't have to play hero ball, right? He was taking what the defense gave him and he was punishing coverage mistakes when they appeared. And the formula still applies, and it might even be more valuable now. But here's another thing. You got to think about the reinforcements that this team's getting back, right? You're getting back guys like David Moore, who could return. You're adding in a veteran presence into a young receiver room. More importantly, it sounds like Robert Hunt is probably going to play, right? I know he's making his way back, as we would probably say right now, but sounds like he's for sure going to play, which would be massive, right? That interior protection has been crucial, and it was crucial in the first matchup. And again, I think, chat, that Robert Hunt's presence would stabilize an offensive line that can't afford to collapse against the Rams front. And if the Panthers can run the ball even respectably again, that entire offensive structure becomes more dangerous. And I'm going to dive more into that on Friday when we do the preview and prediction. This is kind of like a preview, but I'll give you my full breakdown on Friday. I'm going to break down the offense and defense. I'm going to break down the Rams offense and defense. So it's going to be a full breakdown. So again, with the Panthers, though, our defense, this is a guy that we've got to look at right here and be like, because this defense has more answers than time, right? You know, one overlooked detail from that Week 13 upset, the Panthers did all of that without several key defensive players, like I said. And Matt Stafford still threw 2 interceptions, lost a fumble. The fumble and then was sacked twice as well. And then without having J.C. Horn or Tre'von Moehrig available as well. This time we've got those guys in the lineup. So you can also add in Christian Roseboom and potentially maybe Claudin Churlis is coming back. And then suddenly you look at this defense and it looks far more complete than it did the first time around. See, no one expects Stafford to implode again. I don't expect him to implode. He really does. But we do not need chaos out there. What we need is disruption. 2 turnovers instead of 3 could be enough, right? But again, I think that in these games like this, and this is interesting right here. In games like this, here's another fun stat for you, and go ahead and read it. Most first downs or touchdowns under pressure this season, Bryce Young ranks number 7. Just so you know. But why do I think Carolina can win this? I still think that this is a matchup that the Rams hate. This is a kind of a playoff game that the Rams hate. Why do I think that? It's because Bryce Young in tight moments has consistently played his best football in late games. People don't want to say that, but it's true. In Week 13, if we go back and watch that film, let's not forget he delivered 2 fourth-down touchdown throws and another on third down while trailing. So if this game stays close, his composure gives Carolina a chance. And again, the Rams may still underestimate us again. I don't know if they underestimated us the last time, but they're not going to overlook us again. I'll say that, right? They already lost once, but it's also human nature to look ahead. With tougher matchups looming, even a small lapse in focus could open the door. And here's the thing, weird history piles up, man. It keeps piling up. Under 500 teams have won before. The Panthers did it. Other statistically worse, right? Teams have done it. There are enough bizarre coincidences floating around this season to at least an eyebrow, right? But when you look at this types of stuff, man, again, the run game, when we talk about this, the run game has to reappear. And our defense, you got to remember Matthew Stafford isn't invincible, but he's still dangerous as hell. But again, this right here is what bothers me the most when we look at this. So this is third down defense ranked by EPA. Okay, so that's third down efficiency per average. Okay. Where's Carolina? They are right here. Down here at the bottom. Down here at the bottom. At 0.29. 0.29, chat. So this game is going to come down to third down efficiency, right? 7 in the first matchup, we were 7 for 15 on third down. They made their real money on third down aggression or aggressiveness, so which the Rams will absolutely not allow again. Since then, I got some stats in front of me right here. Panthers versus the Seahawks. Guess what we were, chat? 1-11. Panthers versus the Buccaneers. 1-8. Panthers last 3 games, we are at 25.81% of conversion rate, 31st in the NFL. The Rams, the last 3 games, are 44.9%, 8th in the NFL. It also gets worse. Our Carolina's defense has allowed 55.55% third down conversions over the last 3 games. I want to put this in perspective for you, chat. The San Francisco lead the league offensively at 49.77%. That's bad. So if the Panthers can't get off if we can't get off the field on third down or can't sustain drives of our own, no amount of magic or crowd energy is going to save them from an absolute beatdown from the Los Angeles Rams. Nothing. All right. Nothing. But see, the thing is you have to find ways to execute. You know what I mean? You got to find ways to execute, right? But that I want to express that to you guys, and I'm going to get to some of your chats here in a minute. But that's just crazy, man. 0.29 EPA, third down. Yeah. It's rough. That's rough. Let me see who's in the chat. Let me get in here. Let me get in here real quick. A bunch of people are blowing it up. I got to catch back up with some of you guys. The hate was strong last night at the round table last night, and I love it. Oh, yeah, Trizzy. They're going to hate. They're going to hate. Hold on. Let me find his name. I'm scared of the Super Bowl 50 ref in charge. Don't be scared. He's better than Brad Allen. I'll take that over. I would take that guy over. I'll take the guy we're getting over. What's his name? Brad Allen and his crew. Who's our next opponent? That would probably be Well, if we win, let me go look. Let me go look. If we win, it would be the Seahawks. Panthers pickle. If we win, it would be the Seattle Seahawks. If we win, well, it depends. So if we win, and if the 49ers win, then it'll be the Seahawks versus the 49ers. If the Eagles win, and then the Packers win, then it would be the Eagles or the 49ers. So it would be either three teams. It just depends. If we win, we would either play so basically this is what needs to happen. We would need the Bears to lose, the 49ers to beat the Eagles so we don't have to play them, or we play the 49ers. Or the Bears win and the 49ers win, we would play the Bears. Or if the Bears win and the Eagles win, we would play the Seahawks. Here, I'll show you guys real quick. I'm going to show you how this works. So this is how it works right here, chat. Let's say we win, right? And I'm going to take all this off. Let me go home. Let's create a bracket. Cancel. All right. Can everybody see that? I think you can. All right. So let's say we win, right? Our next opponent would be, I know it automatically puts us here, but it just depends. If the Eagles win and the Bears win, we play the Seahawks. Okay. If the 49ers win and the Packers win, the Packers would play the Seahawks. We would play the 49ers. If the Bears win and the 49ers win, we would play the Bears. If the Eagles win and the Packers win, we would play the Eagles. That's how it works. What's up, Antonio? Stop, Robstar. Peter Briscoe hates us. It'd be hilarious if we do like the 7-9 Seahawks and go beast mode on the Rams up. I know. That would be insane. Jags beat us this time. That means the Jags may go to the Super Bowl this time. That could be onto something there, Trebo. Hey, you thoughts of Panthers getting blown out? What's the next move? 48-17 is crazy. Yeah, I know, Mafia. Yeah, but we're almost fully healthy at home. Is Hunt playing? Jeff, I would go ahead and plan to think that he is. I think he's playing. If we can run like the past two, if we can't run like the past 2 weeks, we lose guaranteed. They had a top 3 offense when we faced them in week 13. They still do. Hopefully people coming back from their injury helps. Oh, definitely help. Was Hunt in that game? No. People got to remember, we haven't played. Robert Hunt hasn't played since week 2 of this season. They haven't said if Hunt is going to play right now. I think from reports and how he's talking, it sounds like he's going to play. They left a roster spot open. Most believe it's for Hunt. Sorry, I can't find his name, but he works for CBS. He talks. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. We forced 2 of those turnovers exactly, which is wild to me. They're 10-2 underdogs. Yeah. Pete Briscoe. Yep. The bank is going to be crazy. All right. Michael Reap comes in and says, I know are not great, but damn, a little credit for where we come from. It would be nice, right? Media gives us no love. That's fine. If we play Seattle, I hope Carolina. If we play Seattle, I hope Carolina Sam Darnold shows up, right? So we playing the Bear. So we playing the Bears, in my opinion. So in your head, Joust, you're automatically playing the Bears. So you think that the 49ers are going to beat the Eagles, and you think the Bears are going to beat the Packers, is what you're telling me. That's basically how it would have to happen. That's how it happened. I think the Eagles win and the Packers win. I think the Packers beat the Bears. I think the Eagles will beat the 49ers. I wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers beat the Eagles, but I mean, I would much rather play the 49ers than the Eagles. If but that's just me. I think that the Packers will beat the Bears. Just have this gut feeling. But this is how I see this side playing out. I seriously think the Chargers are going to make a run secretly. I think the Steelers will beat the Texans. I think the Steelers will get there against the Bills. The Bills will beat them. If there's any other time that the Bills are going to make a Super Bowl run, you don't have Joe Burrow in the playoffs. You don't have Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. You don't have Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Josh Allen, if you're going to make a time to ever go make a Super Bowl run, this is the time. That's all I'm going to say on that side of the bracket. That's all I'm going to say on that side of the bracket. So we should have done an NFL. What we should have done is done an NFL playoff show. Should have done that this year. Should have done that this year. I will say this though, chat. Like, I think, like, if we're looking, let me see what they got for this preview. I'm kind of interested to see. Oh, that's all they're doing. They're not doing anything crazy. The only reason why I think we might not beat them is because, like, the Rams is because of the talent gap. I think the Rams haven't. You can sit here and say it. Like, I'm giving you reasons why I think we can win, but I want to be realistic with you guys too. Like, there's other reasons why I think we could lose, right? Like, there is a talent gap there. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves. Rams, from a talent standpoint, on paper, they are way better than we are, right? You got an MVP level quarterback. You got an offensive player of the year candidate. You got multiple elite playmakers. You got a stacked defensive front. So again, we can't match them across the field on paper. I would say our secondary is definitely stronger, but that's really about it, right? But see, here's the thing. Turnover Matthew Stafford barely repeats itself. Stafford just had 9 turnovers all season, and in week 13 he had 3. So that kind of swing doesn't usually happen twice. But again, I just think that could the Rams walk into Charlotte and blow this thing wide open? Absolutely. But could the Panthers follow that same script like last time and run the ball, protect Bryce Young, disrupt Matthew Stafford just enough, and drag the Rams into an uncomfortable situation, an ugly game that they would absolutely hate? That's why I think that the Rams, this type of matchup, is the kind of playoff game that the Rams hate. So I absolutely think they could. See, people think that playoff football doesn't give a shit about projections, point spreads, and narrative. But what it does do is it rewards teams that know exactly who they are. Carolina does, right? They know that they don't need it. They're not perfect. They know that they have flaws. They know they don't need perfection. They know they don't need dominance. They just need discipline. They just need time. They need a little bit of chaos as well. That's why they're called the cardiac cats. And if they get it, don't be shocked if the Rams find themselves wondering how the hell this happened again. That's what I'm getting at. And that's what I was getting at last night on the NFC South roundtable chat. That's what I was getting into with those guys last night. Our edge rushers are up and coming, but this third down defense, due to soft coverage, will min and pass rush. I'm just guessing. Well, I could tell you what the issue is with that. I could tell you the issue with that. Right? It's this bend but don't break has become soft then snap, right? Again, Evero's soft zone philosophy is supposed to keep plays in front, right? Rally to the ball, force mistakes. What happens is, and instead, it becomes free access underneath routes, easy pitches, catch concepts, and death by 1,000 third down conversions, right? This defense breaks far more than it bends, right? Now, lately, this defense has been pretty good. I thought our defense, probably the second half of the season, has really improved, right? Even against competent quarterbacks who understand spacing. But the problem is zone only works when you have pass rushers who can speed up the quarterback's timing, linebackers who close those window gaps, and safeties that overlap correctly, right? And those two of those three that I just mentioned, we fail completely and consistently. And the third and long is a disaster because, again, there's no excuse, really none, for how often our defense gives up 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 12s and 3rd and 4evers, because that's where your coaching shows up most clearly. Because Evero keeps coming up short in those things when it comes to the pass rush, right? Especially with the pass rush lanes. There's no quarterback containment. There's the soft zone, again, continues to stick defenses, and there's zero creativity to close, right? See, getting beat on 3rd and long isn't just frustrating. That is a coaching indictment. Those situations should favor the defense, right? And Carolina routinely hands them back. Carolina should be consistently, I would say, about 70%, 65% of the time winning those third down conversions. That's all I'm saying. That's the issue. I appreciate that comment, Resume, that dude. I appreciate you. The run game has to be on point. Shout out to Eric Blair becoming a member for 14 months, man. I appreciate you, brother. I really do appreciate you. Hopefully I can start doing more for you guys who become members. I'm trying to. Gotta make problem is you gotta make money to spend money. But we're getting there. Shout out to you, Eric. Appreciate you. Carolina Panthers will shock the Los Angeles Rams again. Appreciate you, Jacob. Play calling has to be better as well. Yeah, I mean, Dave, I like this comment because Dave Canales, the thing that he has done well, like Dave Canales has changed the culture. That's one thing he's done well. He's helped stabilize Bryce Young to a certain extent at this point, right? He gets these players to compete in very ugly games. But where Dave Canales really hurts this team is his way. The situational play calling is a problem, right? This is the biggest red flag, and this is what keeps showing up, right? Bad calls on 3rd and long, worst calls on 4th down, trick plays in the worst possible moments, like we saw in Tampa Bay. Overthinking when simplicity would win, right? That flea flicker again against Tampa, I will never forget it. That wasn't just such a bad play call. It was a situational failure from top to bottom, right? You have a wet field, you know, you got a red zone, you got momentum building, you still have 3 downs available, right? That's when a head coach has to protect this offense, right? Not try to get cute with it, right? This isn't a one-off. This is a pattern, right? And that is a huge, huge issue with him. Appreciate you, Miss Douglas. Panthers beat better opponents when we drag them into the mud with us. Yeah, I mean, it seems that way, you know. Underground West says, right, Clay, this game is winnable if this team is locked in. Absolutely. Our defense only works on the red zone and making turnovers, which it does surprisingly well. It does. We do very well getting the ball back in the red zone and stopping teams from scoring touchdowns. We're actually not that bad compared to last year. It's possible we have to face all 3 NFC West teams on our road to the Super Bowl and avenge our it's it's possible we have to face all 3 NFC West teams. Oh, I see what you're saying. To avenge our loss to the Jags in the Super Bowl. So you're saying the Jags are making it. I'm not. I just don't see it. I think Buffalo is going to handle business, but that's the way I would see. This is the way I see it coming out. That's just me. I think the 2 lowest seeded teams will meet in the championship. I think the Chargers are going to make it there. I really do. I think Rodgers I could see somewhere where the Steelers on that other side like makes a nice run, but I think with that I think that Josh Allen knows with the fact that Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes are not in this playoffs that they're going to win this game. I think the Patriots are frauds and I think the Broncos are frauds. The Patriots are fraudulent because of their schedule. We've seen it like these like again. They might get past the Chargers, but they're not getting past the Bills or the Jaguars. Same thing with the Broncos. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Hopefully, Cam Newton bringing back in the bank, beating the drum will officially lift the curse of Cam Newton over this franchise. That would be nice. I mean, that would be nice. That's for sure. I would love that. I would love that. That's for sure. Again, like I said, this is you're the most iconic player in franchise history, and he's going to attend, and he's going to be beating the drum. I mean, it's huge. Now, I hope they'll put something in the stadium, like a memorial or something of him. You know, if Carolina does win, how far do you think they're going? I'll be honest with you, Luke. If they beat the Rams, I'm not going to predict them to win the next round. I will say that I think our luck will run out at that point. Again, we could go back and look at this all day long, right? You know, and have all the fun with it. Okay? Again, I think that you know, I would say that if we go back and, you know, if we play the Eagles or we play the 49ers, I just have this feeling that we're done there. And that's not a bad thing, because even if we win a playoff game, jeez, man, that says a lot. That says a lot, not only for our coaching staff, but for these players, right? If we make it to the Super Bowl, I mean, that would be the grace of God. But I think we can definitely beat the Rams. We've done it before. Like I said, there's no reason why I don't see that. right? Like I said, it's still going to be hard as hell, but because of what I've said um earlier in the show, but again, this is a kind of playoff game that the Rams are going to hate. Like this is the why this is an absolute nightmare too is because we didn't just hang around. We beat them. That's why this is such a nightmare for them because again, they're going to be looking for revenge. I get that. Right? But again, when we played them last time, this wasn't just some moral victory loss in the early in the season, right? We beat them outright. And and people are saying, well, if Kyrie Williams doesn't go out of that game, we win that game. It's just like Bro Talk said last night on his channel or on the NFC South roundtable. Well, if Michael Penix doesn't get knocked out, we win that game. How the fuck can you say that? Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Ifs, ands, or buts only get you so fucking far. And this is the thing. We beat a team outright at the time. The Los Angeles Rams at the time were sitting at the top of the NFC and everyone was talking Super Bowl. That win mattered because it wasn't built on luck. It's because we forced turnovers. We blew up timing routes. We made Stafford rush his throw, and we took controls of the late game moments. And Bryce Young hit on some major big time throws, had one of the most efficient games of his career. You know, he hit 2 fourth down touchdowns and a third down one. You don't accidentally just beat a 12-win team out of the blue. Like everybody, like if anybody wants to go check it out, the Rams know that the tape exists. Exactly, Miss Douglas. Exactly. So it doesn't make any sense. But I just let him have that comment because I was just like, man, I'm not even gonna address it right now because we still swept their ass. If, ands, or buts, shoulda, coulda, woulda, injuries or not, you should have damn beat us, but you didn't. You lost. Hold that L and shut the fuck up. That's what I really wanted to say. But I held my tongue. But again, let's not forget, man, in this like against this Rams team, man, the one key person that I look at this Rams team, like the fact that Matthew Stafford still cracks when that pocket collapses, like that's what's going to need to be really, really happen. Like I'm going to need this pass rush to really show up again. Stafford is a very dangerous quarterback, but let's not forget everybody. He's not a superhero. He's human. When we played him the first time, they did not dominate up front. They disrupted the interior. That's where Stafford mechanics start to unravel, right? When you saw the multiple interceptions, the pick six, the rush decisions once pressure hit his face, is he likely to melt down exactly the same way again? Like I said, probably not. But Stafford has always struggled when interior pressure forces resets, coverage rotates late, and he has to make that second decision, not the first. So again, we don't need 5 turnovers again. That's unrealistic. But if you can get 2 or 3 in this, and you can turn them around in points immediately, that's huge. And again, I think it's a brutal spot for the Rams too, because guess what? They got to travel from West Coast to East Coast. So you got to travel cross country. You got an early kickoff. You're coming into a hostile, desperate crowd. And you're playing a team who has nothing to lose, who wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place, that no one predicted. And again, that's why I'm not surprised that the Rams are expected to win. You know? Let's see what you said here. You want to know something interesting, Rob Star? The 27 and 27, 2027. Are you saying the 2007 2008 season? Everybody just says Stafford had a bad game with 3 turnovers, like we had no agency, right? Didn't play with the pen. Yeah, that's right. Bro Talk has genetics. They basically confirmed Cam is pounding the drum, right? Yes, they have. We are the largest home underdog in NFL history. Not surprised. Not surprised by that. I would hammer. I would hammer if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm hammering that underdog line. I'm hammering it. I'm absolutely hammering that underdog line. Let me go look at that. What's the line at right now? Plus 10.5. Give me that. I'm gonna put $100 on it right now. I'm gonna put $100 on it right now. 10.5. Call it a day. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got over 40 people watching on the YouTube. We only got 25 likes. And I would appreciate it if 15 more people would hit that thumbs up button. It's really simple, really easy. I would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it. You know? But again, why I also think that Carolina could win this game, chat, is also because Bryce Young in tight moments, man. That's one thing I got to look at. You know what I mean? But again, the thing that frustrates me the most, man, is this run game has to reappear. Like, has to. In the first matchup, the Panthers ran the ball 40 times for 164 yards. That's why we were looking at that time of possession. We controlled the time possession over 35 minutes and turned the game into a ground out slugfest. And it worked so well because it became, like I said, I was sharing this with you guys earlier. That's why I think it's so important that we get this run game back, because the fastest NFL game played in the last decade. So, over the last 4 games, we've only averaged like 86.5 rushing yards, 22.7 carries per game, 25.29 time of possession. So again, that Rams win is all, that Rams win is also the last time Carolina won the time of possession in the battle. So again, we got to fall back into recent form where, under 3.8 yards per carry and chasing the game with the Rams chewing clock. That's where things will get ugly in a hurry, right? So you don't want to have a shootout with this roster. Is what I was getting at earlier, right? We want to be able to slow the damn game down, right? But again, I just think that even though Stafford, again, he as good as Matthew Stafford is, man. As good as Matthew Stafford is, man, he's not invincible. He's dangerous hell, but he's not invincible. I mean, the thing was, when Carolina first faced Matthew Stafford, the storyline was absurd around his streak of 27 touchdowns without an interception. And that streak briefly hit 28. Then thanks to, if we go back and watch that game, Derek Brown tips that ball, lands right in Nick Scott's hands, right? But Stafford finished that game with 243 yards, the lowest total across the final 7 games of his season. Since then, he's averaging like 326.8 yards per game, 2.8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in the last 5 games, 3 against Atlanta in the Rams lone loss. So, I mean, again, is he elite? Yeah. But is he untouchable? No. Again, I just think that our secondary wants, you know, if we want a puncher's chance, we need a high level performance from JC Horn. And I need to see continued strong play from Mike Jack once again, because again, we quietly have one of the league's better coverage corners late in the year. As a duo, they rank 13th according to PFF since week 14. So, again, but god dang, man, we entered this game as a 10.5 dog. A 10.5 dog. That's crazy. I'm telling you right now, man, I'm hammering that 10.5. I'm absolutely hammering it. I'm hammering that 10.5 line. Coming to this game as a 10.5 dog. I mean, a team that flirted with the number 1 seed, a roster stacked with stars and playoffs, scars, you know what I mean? I mean, the odds are stacked against us. Everyone knows it. That's exactly how underdog stories start. Right? This team's already proved that they can beat the Rams. They've already proven that they can make this team uncomfortable once. Doing again just requires this team to be disciplined, execute. You're going to have to play damn near flawless situational football, right? Again, if we want to keep our dreams alive and ordained by football gods, Chaos Theory, or Jennifer Lopez's love live chat, they're going to have to earn it the hard way. Honestly, I think that's the only way a Cinderella run even ever starts, right? Ever starts. You know what I mean? Calvin comes in and wait, the last time I think we played the Rams in the playoffs was 03, and we were huge underdogs then too. I think you're right on that double A. Eric Blair says I had us at 8 wins preseason. I don't think we would be didn't think we'd be hosting a playoff game. Good prediction there. Calvin comes in and said, let's go, keep pounding. Calvin also comes in with a $5 donation. He goes, I'm happy regardless win, lose, or draw. I'm so proud of our team. They've already accomplished a lot, man. Absolutely, Calvin. Absolutely. Shout out to you. I appreciate the $5 donation, Calvin. It goes a long way. Marcos Cash, member for 14 months. I appreciate you, Marcos, as always, showing your love, showing your support, always being here. Appreciate you, my guy. Marcos is a at this point, Marcos Cash is like an unk of the channel. You know what I mean? He's like an unk. We won without 4 of our defensive starters on defense. We sure did, Trizzy. We sure did. So again, Carolina can shock the world, man. They have the opportunity. That's for damn sure. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream again. Hit that thumbs up button. It's this simple right here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you do that. I just want to thank all you guys for the love and support. By the way, we're going to do the preview and prediction live breakdown Friday. Make sure you guys are there. I'm working on getting the Rams guy on the channel. We'll see if I can get a Rams guy on the channel. If not, maybe I'll just do my if not, will just be me. So again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor again, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss any new content. Appreciate you guys tonight. I will see you guys on Friday. Of course, more content's coming, baby. Gonna have more content coming out. All right. Other than that, guys, as always, y'all know what to do. See you Friday. Keep pounding. I'm out.